So that's 1 to 2 times the recommended daily allowance for women. That's a whole meal in every single one of those cocktails. This is actually a really great choice. It will feel like a full-on cocktail. That's what works much better than trying to make some big drastic change. And some of the highest calorie cocktails are, hello and welcome to the Trinity Fit Over 40 podcast with me, Rob Burkhead. I'm one of the co-founders of Trinity Transformation and creators of the Fit Over 40 method. And together with our world-class coaching team, we've helped more than 6,500 women in their 40s, 50s and 60s to look and feel their best as they go through menopause. And to find out more about what we do, just head over to www.fit40info.com. When it comes to alcohol, a lot of people don't want to miss out. There's lots of social occasions at this time of year. And even if it's a different time of year, like summer, a lot of people want to be able to enjoy a drink with friends or with family and not feel guilty. But when it comes to the people we work with, a lot of them also want to either maintain their weight or lose weight, especially around menopause. And cocktails can really put the brakes on weight loss. They can also make you feel way worse around menopause. They can really exacerbate symptoms of menopause for a number of reasons I'm going to reveal today. The problem with cocktails, there's kind of two key problems with cocktails. The first one is their calorie intake, and the second one is their sugar content. So many cocktails are between 200, that's actually the low end, and 500 calories each. And just for reference, a typical, very filling, healthy, high protein, high fiber meal is going to be about 500 calories if cooked from scratch. And a typical sort of large chocolate bar or sharing bag of chocolate is about 500 calories. But when it's a liquid, we often don't put two and two together and realize because it can even be a clear liquid cocktail, it could be like a mojito, doesn't look like there's a lot of calories in there, but that's a whole meal in every single one of those cocktails. And some of the highest calorie cocktails are the sweeter cocktails. Frozen daiquiris, they can be 400 or 500 calories. Pina colada, because there's coconut milk in that as well, can be easily 500 calories. A Long Island iced tea, another classic, that can be easily 500 because there's so much alcohol content and alcohol is very calorie dense. So just for reference, alcohol has 7 calories per gram, which is more than carbs, which a lot of people are scared of, which is 4 calories per gram, and only a tiny bit less than pure fat like lard, like butter, which is 9 calories per gram. So alcohol is close to those. So this is why things like a Long Island iced tea, which contain loads of different types of alcohol, are so high in calories. And even slightly smaller ones, like an amaretto sour, that can be 300-400 calories again. What's more, pretty much all those cocktails I've just named contain between 25 and 50 grams of sugar. So that's 1 to 2 times the recommended daily allowance for women. And that's based on the World Health Organization's recommendation. So that's about 6 teaspoons of sugar. That's 25 grams. A lot of these cocktails are double the entire daily intake for sugar in one of them. And a lot of the time people are not having one, they're having 2, 3, 4. It might be a Christmas party. It might be a summer barbecue. If you're having 4 of those, that's more than your entire daily, it's like your weekly intake of sugar. And it's kind of like your entire daily food intake in just drinks, let alone food. So if that's happening, that will probably undo your entire week's hard work dieting just from those cocktails. And I'm not saying this to be a party pooper and ruin your experience, but if you are consuming that much of certain cocktails, it will stop you seeing weight loss results and probably lead to quite significant weight gain over time. It'll creep on, but it'll considerably increase your weight over time, especially if you're around menopause and you're dealing with some of the changes that are happening and your body doesn't deal so well with sugar and blood sugar regulation and alcohol, which is pretty much everything in a cocktail. So I've got 8 cocktails for you today that will help you make a better choice at your next social event, whether that's a Christmas party, whether that's a summer event if you're listening to this in the summer. But these are going to save you a hell of a lot of weight gain. They're going to lead to you getting much better results if that's something of interest. But they're also going to help you to regulate menopause symptoms much better because they're all sub 5 grams of sugar. And anything with over 10 grams of sugar, we generally class as high in sugar. Sub 5 grams, you're in a really good place. It's not going to lead to really high blood sugar spikes and crashes. And those blood sugar spikes and crashes are then not going to lead to hot flushes. The alcohol can do for some people, so you have to be a little bit careful with that. But again, I'll give you some suggestions as we go through this to how to manage that better. So let's get into the 8 healthy cocktails today. I know I've done a little bit of an intro talking about the things to avoid. I think that's important to understand before we get into what to have. So the first one right for you is a skinny margarita. So how do we make it skinny, and what exactly is that? So a margarita is a tequila-based drink, and it can be pretty strong. And if you're having this out, it's obviously going to be a bit harder to control. So some of these ones you're going to maybe have more difficulty ordering out because the bartender might not want to make it for you, or you might feel awkward asking for it. So just pick a different one if that's the case. But if you're making it at home, you could definitely make this. So you're going to make this with some fresh lime juice, a shot of tequila, some agave syrup or stevia, which will save you some calories. So that's a natural sweetener, stevia. Agave syrup is a bit like honey, but it's not it's plant-based from the agave plant. And then just some sparkling water to give it that fizz. So this is going to be a less sweet version of a normal margarita. It's about 120 calories, and it's about 3 grams of sugar just from the lime juice and a small amount of agave. Now, the calories will ramp up quite a lot if you put a lot more agave in. So maybe you can assume this goes up to 150 and maybe 8 grams. But keep that sugar or agave content as low as you can get away with and still enjoy it. And it's these little tweaks. They might sound insignificant, but this is what makes all of the difference between getting the weight loss and ultimately the figure that you want and feeling the way you want and being completely stuck. It's not big dramatic changes. You don't have to cut out alcohol entirely, because unless you are going to stick to that, that's a pointless exercise. It's learning to tweak what you already like so you don't feel overly restricted. You don't then bounce back or binge eat or blow out or binge drink because you felt so restricted. It's tweaking the thing you like so you still enjoy it and you get the results you want. It's a win-win, and we're always looking for the win-wins. So that's the first one. Second one is a vodka, lime and soda. So I will actually, my wife says she doesn't drink much either, but she just goes, I was at antenatal classes recently. We're having a baby boy in a couple of months, 8 weeks from now is the due date today. And she was saying at the bump and baby classes that we've been going to, oh, my husband's really boring. He never drinks, because the men were given a chance to go away whilst they talked about specific topics with just the women. And we went to the bar and they all got beers and I got a vodka. I got a lime and soda without the vodka. But you can still have that flavor. But if you want some alcohol, you can add the vodka to it. So it's a nice refreshing drink. It's literally soda water and lime juice or lime cordial. If you want to keep it really low calories, you would have it with fresh lime. And that might keep it around like 60 calories, because you've just got a shot of vodka. If you go for a single shot, 50 calories for a single shot of any alcohol. Just so you know, 100 for a double. That's why I will always go for a single, because then I can have twice as many drinks. So that single shot of vodka, soda water, there's pretty much no calories in that. And then the fresh lime juice, or if you add lime cordial, there is going to be a bit of sugar and a few calories from that. But hopefully it's only going to be sort of 3 to 5 grams if you're kind of light on the lime cordial, and you can always ask them to do that. So that's going to be between 50 and 100 calories. So again, pretty good choice if you want to go for that. But you might not like vodka-based drinks. I'm personally not really a vodka drinker. I got that out of my system at university, drinking a whole bottle every week somehow. These days, I much prefer a gin and tonic. So gin and tonic is another great choice. And you can put any sort of different ingredients in there, like cucumber, a slice of grapefruit or orange. Is not really going to add to the calories. And if you pick a diet mixer, you will save about 50 calories. So a full sugar tonic is about another 50 calories. So I would personally always try and get diet. If you're overseas, it's sometimes a bit harder. But even if you can't get it, it's still about 100 calories if you get a single. So I'd always go for a single. If you get a double, it's going to be 100 calories. And then if you can't get diet tonic water, it's going to be about 150. Still a lot better than many of those other sort of more traditional cocktails. I know gin and tonic might not be classed as a cocktail, but it's a great choice if you want to stay lean, look and feel your best. And there's loads of flavors out there as well. So, you can get rhubarb and ginger, you can get gooseberry, you can get raspberry, you can get a ton more that I can't remember. Had a really good honey sort of flavored one actually a couple of Christmases ago. So gin and tonic, really obvious one probably, but go for a diet tonic if you can, go for a single shot if you can. And then even if you have 2 diet gin and tonics, that's going to be about 100 calories. You're still 3 to 5 times less than a lot of those traditional cocktails I mentioned at the start. And you're nowhere near like having an extra meal in terms of your alcohol content that you then have to burn off through loads of exercise, or you just end up gaining, steadily gaining body fat from. Okay, and then we've got a wine spritzer. So this is some sort of sparkling wine and soda water. And then you can always put a lemon twist in there or some berries in there. And the benefit of this is you can basically extend that sparkling wine that you usually have in like a champagne flute, which is actually not a bad choice anyway. This will be similar calories. So it's about 100 calories, but this will fill you up way more because you've got the sparkling water with it. And that will keep you hydrated as well, which should really help you to have less menopause symptoms, ideally avoid a hangover the next day, potentially help avoid waking in the night or having a headache in the morning. So there's lots of benefits to also adding more water to that, because a lot of the disadvantages from drinking is from dehydration. A lot of the negative feelings the next day. So this is about 100 calories, and there's going to be 1 to 2 grams of sugar from the dry white wine. If you go for a dry white wine, it will be lower. That's a good tongue twister, isn't it? Dry white wine. It's lower in calories and lower in sugar, slightly. And again, it's not a huge difference, but it's these little tweaks that add up. If you save yourself 50, 100 calories here and there throughout the day, you might eat 500 calories less. And that's the difference between losing a pound every week and not losing any weight at all. And that's how it adds up. For most clients that I've worked with, that's what works much better than trying to make some big drastic change. Like, I'm now fasting and not eating anything in the morning, or I'm not drinking alcohol at all, or I'm not eating carbs. Most people can do that for a little while and then they stop and then they gain all the weight back and they've learnt absolutely nothing. All right, we're on to drink number 5. So the next one is a light mojito. So I did mention mojitos at the start. The key with this light mojito, and again, you might not be able to get this out, but this is one you can make at home if you love mojitos. You don't have to miss out. When you're out, pick one of the other ones. So it's still going to be rum based. You get that white rum, but change it to fresh lime juice in case you were going to have lime cordial. You may not. Mint leaves, again, usual, soda water, but change the sweetener, because usually mojito has just got a ton of sugar dumped into it. That's kind of one of the main flavors of mojito. But if you use a stevia-based sweetener, there's no calories in it, and stevia is a natural sweetener. So it's a pretty good sweetener if you're going to go for a sweetener. And again, if you're trying to lose weight, it will help. So this is about 110 calories, and you got 2 grams of sugar just from the lime juice that you squeezed in. So this is actually a really great choice. It will feel like a full-on cocktail, but the calories will be half, if not less, and the sugar will be like 10% of the sugar that you would have been getting. So instead of having your whole daily allowance, which, to be honest, around menopause, that's a generic daily allowance for women. Women around menopause generally should have quite a bit less if they don't want to have bad symptoms, poor energy management, strong cravings, bad, even weight gain. If you want to avoid those things, ideally you want to be quite a lot below the daily allowance. So little tweaks like this will make a huge difference, because you could have, I'm not saying to do this, but you could have 10 of these before you had the same sugar intake as someone having a regular mojito. What's next? We've got a Paloma Light next. So this is not a cocktail I've had often, but I do like it because it's got grapefruit juice in it, and I'm a bit of a sucker for grapefruit juice. So this is tequila, grapefruit juice, soda water, agave, or stevia. And it depends. If you use that agave syrup, again, it's like honey. It's in a lot of sort of South American style cocktails. That will add a few extra calories, but it's about how much you put in. So when you're out, again, this is going to be a bit more difficult to say put less agave in, because they want you to come back to their bar. And the way they're going to do that is to give you the most delicious tasting cocktail, which is probably putting loads of agave syrup in. But if you're at home, you could put less in, or you could put stevia in. So this is going to be putting like a small teaspoon's worth in rather than a tablespoon that they might put in when you're out. So that's another good option. That Paloma Light, maybe you want to make at home. What else have we got? Prosecco with fresh fruit. So this is where you just literally take Prosecco or champagne, it could be, and have raspberries or strawberries with it. Sounds super simple, but I still think it's important to share that, because it's like 90 to 100 calories for the Prosecco. And then you might have 10 calories of berries. Berries are actually a very low calorie, low sugar, high fiber fruit. So a great choice and something I eat loads of. So a Prosecco with fruit or without the fruit. I know it's not a cocktail, but it is a good alternative. And then last but not least, we've got one more kind of proper cocktail for you. So I've got a Bloody Mary to finish. So this is actually a pretty good choice, because it's sort of a semi-savory cocktail. So if you're not aware of what's in it, we've got vodka, tomato juice, fresh lemon juice, Worcester sauce, maybe a bit of hot sauce, and black pepper. And that's only about 120 calories, and it's about 4 to 5 grams of sugar just from the tomato juice. And you might be thinking, well, yeah, that's natural sugar as well, so that doesn't count. It depends how it's processed. If you were eating the tomato as a whole, it would come with the skin, which has fiber in, the seeds, which have fiber in, and that generally slows down the digestion of sugar and flattens out any blood sugar spikes. If it's been processed into smooth tomato juice, just like orange juice, you don't have those benefits. So it's going to spike blood sugar if you have a lot of it, but because it's not a huge amount, it should be fine in this form. It's still way lower than most other cocktails in terms of sugar. So the last one to finish is a Bloody Mary. So those are 8 cocktails. Hopefully one of those stands out to you as one you could choose. Some of them are better to make at home, like the Skinny Margarita, or the Mojito Light, or the Paloma Light, where you use stevia instead of the full sugar sweeteners, and you use soda water. Some are better to get out, which might be like the wine spritzer, Prosecco, the Bloody Mary, or the gin and tonic. But hopefully there's something there for everyone. If you do want to enjoy a drink, those are going to make it way easier for you to maintain a healthy weight and feel miles better as you go through menopause as well. And I've got so many clients who have improved their relationship with alcohol and made smarter choices as they have gone through our Fit Over 40 program. But one that really stands out that I want to share with you is from a client called Kate Martin. And she's 51 and she lives in Cheltenham and she's a ceramic artist. So not the typical job that a lot of our clients do. A lot of our clients are kind of busy professionals in more traditional careers, but we have people from all over. And Kate said, I chose to join Fit Over 40 because I was fed up of yo-yo dieting and gaining weight slowly every year, but not being able to lose it. Each year became harder and harder and my energy levels were depleting. I am menopausal and I was awaiting a hip operation, so it needed to be the best I could be before my operation. I've also become a nana, so I wanted to be an active part of their life, and converted a van into a camper, so I wanted to become fit so I could climb mountains and walk coastal paths. I had had initial success with Slimming World, but as I got older, it became harder and I wanted something that I could maintain. I've also tried keto, but this gave me terrible flatulence and bad breath, and it was very expensive. I've also juiced, and this was great, and I lost a load during the first month, but missed actually eating food, and it affected my sleeping. I've done no carbs. This worked again to start with, but I had hard work fitting it in with family meals with growing children who needed carbs in their diet. I've done the Cambridge diet, in which I lost the weight, but as soon as I stopped it, it piled back on, and it was expensive. I've also done Slim Fast shakes and bars, which just became boring. Since joining Trinity, I have changed my attitude to food and alcohol. I only drink alcohol when I want to for special events and occasions, and have saved myself a fortune. I no longer have to sit on a beach fully clothed, as it's given me the confidence to feel stronger, fitter, and slimmer. I've lost weight and 5.5 inches from my waist within the first 3 months. I'm so much stronger than I used to be, which feels amazing, and I know I'm making lifetime changes so worth the effort. Do it, you won't regret it, as it really is a change for life, and you'll feel so supported, as they're a genuine and amazing group. They are a genuine, amazing group of people, and you'll really feel it was the best decision you've ever made. So that's a fantastic example of Kate, who tried so many different things, from Slimming World to keto to low carbs to Cambridge diet to juicing, and all of those things gave very temporary results, but none of them were sustainable. And now Kate's been able to keep this for way longer than this was just after the initial 3 months, where she lost 5.5 inches off her waist. She's still with us now, and she's still improving how she looks, how she feels, and eating really, really well. And she's got that much better relationship with alcohol, which I think is the most important thing and why I wanted to share this. Because a lot of people struggle to break that without the right support. And this is something we've seen time and time again with our clients, is completely breaking the bad habits with alcohol, because they can understand how it makes them feel, and then supporting them with other interesting things in their diet so that they don't feel like they're missing out, like the swaps we talked about today. So that just about wraps it for today's podcast. If you want to find out more about our Fit Over 40 program that Kate and thousands of other women have followed to see unprecedented results as they go through menopause, just head over to www.fit40info and you can find all the details on that page. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We'll catch you next time for another one. We'll see you then.